Welcome back, everybody, to All Things Rangers. This week, I am joined, of course, in where I'm actually in California right now. A little bit of a road trip. Hopefully, I don't, I tried to give you scenic views out there, but it was too hot. Fortunately for me, I'm joined by the one and only Mr. John Bukowski.
I don't have anything witty to say.
Do you have anything witty to say?
No.
All right, yeah, I kind of had that problem too. And licking his wounds from last night, Mr. Anthony LaRocco.
Goal can't go in overtime. That's all I'm gonna say. Can't.
Well, that's where we're starting with. Yet again, it's the Islanders and the Bruins. We know about what happened in Game 1, 5-2 win for the Bruins. David Pastrnak had a hat trick. Game 2, Islanders winners in overtime, where Casey Zizekas had a breakaway. Well, we still don't know what Jeremy Lauzon was thinking, but that's a different story. And then last night, as the barn was a-rocking, the Bruins came a-knocking and silenced the crowd almost immediately on the Craig Smith goal. But I was to tie it late, and then Brad Marchand from a tough angle just beats Semyon Varlamov. Anthony, what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, on the overtime goal in particular, it just simply can't go in. I mean, Marchand was essentially like against the boards and from a terrible angle. Pajot kind of closed him off. He was right next to him. Marchand, I mean, don't get me wrong, he placed the shot well, but I mean, that has to be stopped. I mean, it really does. There's really nothing else left to say other than that's a horrendous goal by Varlamov. And look, I kind of got into it with some of the people I post on over at Islander Media because they were saying, talking about how great Varlamov was during the game, and yeah, he was good. But if you're constantly letting up the first shot you see in a game, and then letting in stuff like that in overtime, my opinion, I don't give a flying what you do during the game. If you're sitting there letting up the first goal you see and letting up fluff shots and soft goals, what does it all matter in the end? It doesn't matter at all, because in the end you're losing anyway because of poor play. And I mean, look, I'm not going to kill him too much on that first goal. It was the first shot, but also too, it was higher in the slot. It wasn't necessarily point blank, and we're not talking Alexander Semin twisted wrister either. It's Craig Smith, and the puck kind of fluttered a little bit, so like it's not like I'm not going to label it like a soft goal, but I mean it's a goal that I think your goalie should be able to a save that your goalie should be able to come up with. And listen, the Coliseum was loud regardless. I mean, they got after the goal, they continued to do what they do all game, but at the same time, you don't want that to happen. It does let temporarily the air out of the building when that happens, and Varlamov has done it far too often in the playoffs. So, I mean, look, it's just frustrating because Sorokin's 4-1 with a .934 save percentage, and yeah, he dropped the first game to Boston, but if you kind of go through the goals that he let up, like. That story in Game 1, I don't know if you guys remember, they were talking about it. The Bruins scored that first goal with 38 seconds left in the first period. Prior to that goal, they were already talking about, once again, the story is Ilya Sorokin keeping the Islanders in the game. And he let up that power play goal, Pastrnak. Not a bad goal, what can you do? One of the best shooters in the league on a power play. He beat you. Second goal, Bergeron the one thing that you could say, he kicked a rebound right to Pastrnak, but he slid over, and if it weren't for the puck going off of Pollock, Sorokin probably makes a 10-bill save there, and it's on ESPN Top 10. He came off close. And then the third goal, the Bruins did their job. They went to the net, they took his eyes away, and McAvoy took a shot, and it beat him. And then obviously the fourth goal, was again Pastrnak in the slot, basically alone, because they all went to Taylor Hall, who was crashing in the net. And once again, one of the best goal scorers in this league beat him. So he didn't do anything wrong in Game 1. I thought Barry Trotz sort of gave him another opportunity in Game 2 to come back. again, the Islanders ended up winning Game 2. But anyway, the fact is, I think Sorokin should have got another opportunity in that Game 2. Because if you look at that Game 2, Varlamov, that first goal, Nick Leddy got walked. I'm not taking all the onus away from Varlamov on that one. Leddy got smoked, but then Varlamov goes to do a poke check, gets embarrassed, and then he's not quick enough to get his leg pad there. The one thing we're all in agreement with Sorokin, he's very athletic. He probably wouldn't even attempted a poke check there because he would have easily been slide across and get his leg there because Craig Smith did not lift the puck. And then that second goal that Bergeron scored before Marchand tied it on the power play, it was like high slot, and he's him with a wrist shot. And Bergeron doesn't have an incredible shot. He's not Alex Ovechkin. I think that puck needed to be stopped too. So, listen, it is what it is at this point. I would be absolutely shocked if Sorokin played tomorrow. I know Varlamov, Trotz is going to go back to Varlamov. And if they lose again and they're down 3-1, then you know what? Barry Trotz has questions to answer. Because people are going to ask, especially if they go on to lose a series. But Sorokin 4-1, 934 save percentage. Varlamov's 1-3 going into tomorrow's game. If he happens to lose, he'll be 1-4. People are going to ask those questions, and you know what? I love Trotz, but that's something that's on him at that point. So, boys, I don't know. I don't know. I pray to God that the Islanders win tomorrow because first and foremost, I'm an Islander fan. I want to see them win. But let me tell you something: if the Islanders lose again tomorrow, this is on Barry Trotz here.
Phil, you played defense, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so which would you rather have? The goalie that can, you'd always rather have the first aid goalie, I think. But that's where I wanted to get your take on that. Because the goalie stops the puck and then let the defense and everybody else worry about the rebounds. That's what the knock seems to be when people talk about Sorokin, that he kicks out rebounds or something or such. He makes saves. That's what you want, right?
Yeah, I mean, that was always Henrik Lundqvist's bugaboo, though, too. He let up. There were times where, if you noticed when he wasn't on, he'd let up a lot of juicy rebounds, and that's a problem sometimes for defenders because if you're letting them up in bunches, they have to be on their toes the entire game. Not that defenders shouldn't be on their toes the entire game, but you place more of an onus on them, and you have to have better defenders at that point. It's funny because on Twitter, someone I follow made a poll and was talking about, would you rather have the goalie like Lundqvist, who is an absolute brick wall, takes up a portion of your cap, like a big portion of your cap, and ties the team down and kind of hamstrings the team from making other moves, or would you rather have a more slightly above average goalie and be able to make other moves up front and on defense, with the cap space that you would save from tying up, a contract like Lundqvist's during his time, where like his relative cap hit was probably the highest among goaltenders and was, very high, maybe 15% of the cap or so for the team. And then you have contracts like Bobrovsky and Price, where they're making double digits and they're tying up their teams from making other moves, from adding top-end talents. So I answered I would rather have the goalie like a Talbot or someone who's like slightly above average is good, not a Norris contender. Because if you look at a lot of the goalies that have won in recent years, how many perennial Vezina candidates have won in the last 20 or so years? You've got Hasek, Waugh, Brodeur,
Thomas.
Thomas wasn't a perennial Vezina candidate. He was a winner. He had that year where he won, but he wasn't a guy that was finishing as a finalist every year. But the point is, you have guys like Binnington who've won. You've had Osgood won. I think Osgood maybe was a finalist 1, maybe 2 years of his career. I think in '96 he was a finalist.
Yeah, I think maybe '96.
And I think I was it 2002 that he got votes. when he was with the Islanders that one year? Because I know he was really good with them that year.
Yeah,
But,
he was really good with the Islanders that first year.
yeah. But I mean, if you look at a Cam Ward was never like a Vezina caliber goaltender. He just had that really good run as a rookie in the playoffs. And I mean, other guys have won as
Anthony Niemi, Corey Crawford, all those guys. Yes,
exactly. So, I mean, Sorokin seems like he has the tools to be an elite goaltender, and the athleticism is there. But yeah, you don't want a goalie that's kicking out rebounds left and right, because you're gonna eventually it's gonna tire your defense out, and it's gonna lead to more possessions for the other team. And that's going to lead to increased defensive zone time for your team, and that puts them further against the ropes. Like, the Islanders were outplayed last night, and they were absolutely outplayed last night. The shot counts were almost double at certain points in the game. And I'm not saying shot counts are everything, but you can't be being outshot by almost double by the other team and expect to win a game. You can't. Like, me and you would know, Mark. We were Ranger fans with the 6 goalie system under Tortorella and watching the team just get outshot. And yeah, Lundqvist can get you to a point. A guy like that can get you to a point. But if you don't have that over-the-top talent, that upfront talent, you know, or even on defense too, to get you over the top and take over those games, you're not going to win it all. And you know what? Add Panarin to any of those Rangers teams in the early 2010s, like the 2012 team or the 2014 team. They absolutely win a cup with a talent like that. Absolutely. And that's why I said, if the Islanders lose this in the first round, or if they don't make it to the conference finals or so on, that Lou Lamoriello is going to have a lot of questions to answer for not pulling the trigger on that Taylor Hall deal. So,
which it's also good that you guys have cleared that up for me, because I always thought it was the other way around. Taylor Hall is the one that said no. But I do have. Yeah, I mean, he went for the depth. That's what he went for.
yeah.
But as far as this goes, Anthony, I'm in your camp. You should be going with the White Whale the rest of the time, and he's just not. He's at least going to give you more of a chance to win than Varlamov is. Varlamov seems to be off his angles all the time. Both goals by Marchand in the series, the one that tied the game on Monday night and the one last night. It did not seem like he had the right angle. And when you do that, you're not going to win. It's just that simple. Then you get your defense rolling their eyes, going, "Oh my God, can he just make one stop?" Even though he made a bunch of several good stops, the ones that go in are the ones that stick in your head.
Yeah, Pelech's reaction when the camera panned to him after that winning goal, he was like, "What the fuck?" Like that. I mean, because no one did anything wrong. Pajot was there, holding Marchand to the wall, and it was either Pelech or Pulock was in front of Marchand. He had nowhere to go. They played it perfectly, and they still lost on the play. So I get why that would be very frustrating for them. I mean,
yeah, that can't go in. It can't. And I know that people have talked about things in the past with me where I say, "Oh well, Hank should have had that shot." That reminds me of Game 3, 2015 Eastern Conference Finals. I will answer that in a little bit, Julian. That's definitely something I want to talk about. Absolutely. Now that you mention that, but that reminds me of Kucherov, Game 3 in overtime, 2015 Eastern Conference Finals. Henrik Lundqvist should have had that shot. It was far enough out, wasn't screened. It was a long shot. Kucherov has a good shot. We learned that, but you got to have that shot from that far out. And Varlamov has to have that Marchand shot. Did he place it well, like you said? Sure. Was it a great shot? No. Should have had it. Should have had it. No excuse.
Well, and again, the one in Game 2, before we get to the what have we learned and all the other questions, the one in Game 2, there was nobody but Islanders in front of him, and it went in. That cannot happen. That absolutely cannot happen. All right, so Anthony, what have we learned in the series so far?
Well, I mean, I think we learned that I know we knew that this series was going to be close and these teams are evenly matched, but I think we learned that the Islanders can go can go toe to toe with the Bruins. You know, in game 2, they were the far better team in the second period when they went up by 2 goals. And in the third period, for the first 9 minutes or so, before the Bruins started pressuring and mounting a comeback, the Islanders controlled the play. They were physical. They didn't give the Bruins time and space. They halted their transitions out of the zone with their Islander forecheck. They really made the Bruins turn when they went to collect the puck in the offensive zone. And the Islanders came at Boston in waves. And even last night, the Islanders lost despite getting outshot. It was a 1-1 game in overtime. They limited the perfection line. They didn't really get too many good looks. So despite them giving up a lot of shots, you don't want to see that. They did their job against the Bruins as a whole in terms of high danger chances. But I think, early in overtime, Eberle and Barzal almost won it before Marchand scored. So the game was there for the taking. The Islanders have been, even game 1, it was 2-2 going into the third. So the Islanders have been in all these games. If it weren't for the questionable goaltending last night from Varlamov on the game winner, who knows? The Islanders maybe end up winning that game. So I think I learned that, like I said, we knew it was going to be close, but I learned that this is going to be real close. I think this is a series that might go all the way to 7 games. So we'll have to see.
Phil?
A lot of what you said was what I was saying in the preview. I mean, I said this was going to be a real close series. I said the if not all the games are going to be decided by a goal or so, or 2 goals or less, a goal. I mean, these were all going to be all tough games. I think what I've really learned is that Boston as a team plays an excellent defensive game, and they're real good in transition, which is what the Islanders are really good at. So Boston, from what I've really learned, is that they're a lot like the Islanders, and they will go back and they will give the physicality, like I said that they would. And I've learned that they can play that game in spades. It's crazy how physical that team has been against the Islanders. And the Islanders, they've gone hit for hit with them. I mean, sometimes the totals may favor the Islanders because that identity line likes to run around and hit everything that moves. So that might ramp their numbers up a little bit. But if you look at Boston's other lines, their other lines have been really physical. I mean, I've also learned that Charlie Coyle is actually a very, very good two-way player. I mean, he's been really good in this series. Connor Clifton has been really good for Boston, I would say. Tuukka Rask has told everybody that he's not going anywhere anytime soon. I mean, he looks as good as he's ever looked. So I think right now he might be playing the best hockey I think he's ever played in his career. That includes his Vezina winning year in 2014. So I think Boston can play that type of game, and I thought a lot of people doubted Boston's ability to play that type of game, and they're really sticking it to everybody right now that said that they couldn't play that. So. I would say that's what I've learned.
By the way, it's amazing what it's like when you have a goalie that stops a shot that should go in. Tristan. So, I think I gotta be the third one to say it's the same thing. It's to use a metaphor from something that John and I love, and the hat that I wore the other day. It's sort of like Link versus Dark Link. That's what it's like. You're facing your mirror image, and now there's the mirror image of Boston. It's just they got to come up with one more save. It's just that simple. I mean, I think we talked about it on Monday how the Palmieri goal was off, and you get the bounce off of Jeremy Lauzon, the Bailey goal. I mean, you got to capitalize, and they were getting outshot, getting outplayed last night. Later in the game, early on in the first period, they actually outshot Boston. So they just got to come back, get game 4, but you're not going to do that with the goaltending that Semyon Varlamov was giving us. So that leads to what's been disappointing is so far, and I'm going to start this one off, guys. I don't want to rag on the guy too much, but even though he scored last night, it's still Matt Barzal. He's got to step up. He's got to be something. He's got to be a force. If Going into last night's game, if I said to you he was third on the team in shots or tied for third with 20 shots on net, would you believe me? No. You'd be like, oh, no. How many shots does he have? 6? No. And you know what? Maybe last night gets him going and moving forward, he breaks out because he's certainly a capable player of doing that. Phil, let's go to you for your disappointing player so far. Or what's disappointing you?
Anthony's answer here, but it's got to be said. Barry Trotz. And what is he doing with the goaltending? I don't get it. I don't get why you would take the hot hand and Ilya Sorokin out. Sorokin's played very well. You got to give credit where credit is due. Ilya Sorokin's been good. It's been really good for that team. And then you go back to Varlamov, and I understand he got the winning game too, but I'm not trying to bash the Islanders here, but I thought they got 2 really big breaks that helped them win game 2. And if they don't get those breaks, because I think they were outplayed for a good portion of that game, if they don't get those 2 breaks, I think Sorokin's in net for game 3. Because while Varlamov was good in that game, he wasn't great. And Sorokin has played better than him throughout the playoffs. So if I'm Barry Trotz, I go back to Sorokin. I have to, especially after that last goal. If he doesn't go back to Sorokin after that goal, that game-deciding goal last night in overtime, I really have to question what Barry Trotz is thinking at that point. So I'm going to say Barry Trotz.
Anthony?
I was going to go with Barry Trotz too. It's so hard for me because like I understand the fact that Varlamov was your guy during the season. He probably could have been one of the 3 finals players, and he wasn't, but he was really good for them. Arguably their MVP. I understand all that. He's the veteran. Lou, Trotz are kind of veteran biased guys. I get all that, but Sorokin came in and won the series for them with Pittsburgh, changed the course of it. Game 1, he lost, but that wasn't on him. And I know you could say being loyal to Varlamov, but where's the loyalty to Sorokin right there? You pull the plug on a guy who got you there. What does that say for your confidence in him that you're taking him out after one game? And now, once again, it kind of makes it harder for him to go back to Sorokin at this point because, because Varlamov was. Let's get the facts straight. Varlamov was good last night. As much as I don't think he should be playing, he was good for them. He made a lot of good saves, but it comes back to the letting in the untimely goals of seeing the first shots you face, and that overtime goal. That's what it comes back to. For me, that outweighs the good by a lot, especially in the playoffs when the margins are razor thin. So, and now I know his mindset. His mindset is to be, well, Varlamov was the reason why it was a 1-0 game for as long as it was. Gave it an opportunity to tie the game. The Bruins had those 2 power plays in the third where they essentially had the puck in the zone the whole time, and the Islanders defense and Varlamov were there to shut the door. And he's probably going to look past the overtime goal, and he's going to go over Varlamov again. But, I don't think that's the right decision. Just as quick as he was to get Sorokin out there after a loss, the same should be said for Varlamov. So, but not going to happen. Varlamov is going to be in the game tomorrow, and we'll have to see what happens. But yeah, that is disappointing. It really is.
2 things. One, is somebody's phone going on and off the charger? I keep on hearing a boop, boop. No? Okay. All right. Then maybe it's just me going crazy.
No. Sure.
Okay. So the other thing, going to what you're saying with that is, if he goes back to Sorokin tomorrow, then it's a situation where if somebody lets in a goal, they're going to be looking over their shoulder to see if they can hold. Now, he's not pulling anybody in game, but that's why you don't ever want goalie controversies like this ever, because it's never a good thing. And then you get the team who feels down because they feel like a goal should have been stopped, and then sometimes they step up to get it, and it's just it's not a good situation. All right, what's been surprising me so far is how awful the officiating is. in this series. Oh my goodness. We were talking about it last night. The Taylor Hall penalty, mild at best. It really wasn't even, shouldn't have been a penalty. Brandon Carlo gets away with mugging somebody. Where is the consistency? That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is no consistency, really.
They the little slash that was called, what was that in the third? Yeah, I mean, I like, if you're gonna call that, you might as well just call the game the way that you call the games in the regular season, because that was just such a petty call. Why are you calling that in the playoffs? They want to put away their whistles for a period, and then they want to call that? Like, I don't get it. And then they don't call Brandon Carlo for absolutely just full-on cross-checking Jordan Eberle into the boards from behind. I was like, wait, like, you didn't call that after calling that slash? I don't get it. I really don't. Like, listen, if you're going to put the whistles away, just put them away and just...
Or Jake DeBrusk in game 2?
Yeah, I mean, it's stupid. It's inconsistent. I don't get it. And it's not even just that game. There are just certain calls in other games that I've seen where I'm just like, why are they calling this in the playoffs? Just call the egregious stuff. I mean, they should find a balance and keep it that way for the regular season and the playoffs. So this way there's not this inconsistent medium that the referees seem to have every damn postseason, because it always happens that way. So why don't they just call it to a certain point and just keep it that way the whole year? There wouldn't be any problems like this.
Anthony, last word on that?
Well, so I guess, John, that was yours too. The officiating was surprising you.
Yeah,
no.
That was the officiating.
Well, I mean, what's surprising me? No, I was just commenting on Mark's. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to clarify. Yeah, before you went to me.
No.
Sorry, then.
What's
Don't
surprising?
give yours.
I would say it's probably the pace of the games. These games are just so fast paced. I figured they would be a little more like methodical, and it would be more of like kind of like a reminiscent of a 90s like dead puck era type game, because that's what I thought we were heading into with these teams being the way that they are. But there are just so many chances being traded and stuff, and it just counterattack, chance, counterattack, chance, counterattack. And I feel like I'm playing like Street Fighter 2 Turbo Hyper Fighting right now on like the highest speed setting, watching these games go on. So I would say that, and it's been entertaining. It really has. For low scoring games, outside of game 1, obviously, they've been some very entertaining and high paced games. So I'm happy with that.
Surprised me so far the most, I would say, is Leddy and Mayfield's ability to kind of neutralize Taylor Hall. I mean, he has one empty net goal this series. I mean, he had the assist on the first Bruin goal yesterday to Smith, but other than that, the Islanders have really neutralized him. And I knew Leddy could skate with him, but I wasn't sure. I just wasn't sure how much as a whole they were going to be able to contain him. But that's helped him a lot because, like I said, the perfection line is really hard to handle. If Paul got going too, that would be really bad for the Islanders. But the Islanders have done a great job with kind of taking him out of the series for the most part. So thankfully that's happened, but hopefully it can continue that trend. So we'll see what happens going forward, starting with Game 4 tomorrow.
I feel like I'm still getting that beep, by the way, if you want to just unplug that for right now.
I don't know if I can.
If you can. All right. See if you can.
Charging, so I'm not sure if it's even me, dude.
Oh, he's not? All right. All right, because I thought you said it was you.
My phone's not plugged into anything, so I don't know.
All right. Well, maybe, hopefully it's just something that it won't come up on the final thing. All right.
You know what? I have a feeling I'm going to have to fix this real quick. Sorry.
Go ahead, take your time. I'll mute you in that case in a moment. Okay, so Anthony, who's got to step up for Game 4?
I got to go with Brock Nelson. I know Nelson sang his praises for how awesome he was in round 1, but Nelson hasn't been that effective in his first 3 games in round 2. He needs to step up. Beauvillier is going. He's still getting his chances. He had a breakaway last night, which he scored on, and it could have changed the complexion of the game. Beauvillier is really buzzing out there, but Nelson needs to step up. I know this time of year a lot of guys are banged up and you take your bumps and bruises, so I don't know if that's the type of thing going on or he's just trying to just really focus defensively, but he needs to, produce some more offense and, really help the Islanders offense get some more pucks in front to Rask and, take away his eyes and just provide more. I just think he needs to be a little bit more of a spark out there for the Islanders.
John, who needs to step up for Game 4?
I'm going to say for the Islanders, Matt Barzal. I know he got his goal last night, but he's going to have to be a real force in Game 4. He has to be, because if they go down in that series, if they go down 3-1, there's no way I see the Islanders coming back and winning the series at that point. I just think Boston's too good to lose 3 games in a row. For Boston, it's going to have to be their entire defensive corps because I can't see how Brandon Carlo plays in Game 4 after that hit. Clean hit, by the way.
He's on Green Street.
He's. I don't think he's playing in Game 4. He definitely seemed like he got another concussion there. I don't even know if he's going to be able to play the rest of the playoffs with the way that he looked. You can definitely see that he was disappointed. He was a little woozy. So Boston's defense in general is going to have to step up and fill the void for his loss for Game 4.
I'm going to go with Vasilevskiy Varlamov. If they're going to stick with him, he's got goals going towards. And so it leads us to or did I just hold on?
So you cut out there. You cut out there for a while, Mark.
There.
Having trouble with your Wi-Fi. Yeah. All right, I think we're all back. Are we?
I can hear you, yeah.
I can hear you.
Okay. All right. So, guys, what in a game?
Still caught out.
Ouch. Yeah, hold on.
Yeah, he was going like badly.
Yeah, he was lagging a lot. Now I can't hear you though.
Yeah, I can't hear you. Yeah. Unmute yourself.
I should probably unmute it.
Yeah.
Yeah, unmute myself. All right. So, guys, Anthony, what's the headline after Game 4?
Well, I gotta believe, I think the series right now is trending similar to Pittsburgh, so hopefully the Islanders take Game 4 tomorrow. Anything can happen, but I don't see them dropping both the Coliseum, so I'm gonna say headline after Game 4 is, Islanders offense comes alive and even the series at 2. They really need it. I think if they could play the way they did in Game 2 with getting more pucks at rest, causing more havoc around the net, jamming at pucks and, taking away his eyes, I think they can get a couple more past him, like, what they did last time was still 1 goal. So I'm going to say that's my headline for tomorrow. The Islanders take Game 4 and even up the series going back to Boston.
Phil?
I said these two teams were going to split in each other's buildings the first 4 games. So I've got to go with my gut here and say that Sorokin's back in Game 4. He comes back, leads into a victory, and headline says Islanders win, but goaltending controversy continues.
I'm going to go with Islanders lighting up defensively, even the series at 2. All right, but we want to know also what you guys think. Put all your comments below. Are the Bruins dominating the series? Are the Islanders in a goaltending quandary? Just give us all your thoughts. You know what to do.
Did you like that video? Of course you did. So why not check out some more of our content? You can check the playlist right here or right here.
Your ideas are intriguing to me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.